Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel. In this video I'm going to be unboxing an Axial SCX6 crawler. This is the Trail Honcho version. There's also the Jeep, and they both have the same underlying components, size, wheelbase, etc., only the body's different. I think the advantage of the Honcho is that the front of the body and the rear of the body are a little shorter. The rear end has that kind of a stinger, and so the approach angle is steeper, which is better for crawling. These are huge. I've never seen one face to face. I've been wanting to get one since they released them, or even since they announced them, and I decided to wait after the first round came out, not because there was anything wrong with them, but there wasn't much in the aftermarket, and I wanted to be able to make some additions to it when I bought it, and so I thought I would just kind of shelve the idea of getting one of these for a little while. And they haven't modified at least Axial hasn't, other than hanging a new body on it with the Trail Honcho. They haven't really made any changes to it. I think they're happy with what they created, and I think they have a right to be so. It's supposed to be a really fantastic truck. I've never driven an RC truck this big, and I'm really looking forward to it. So let's open the box and get started, and then I'm going to review a bunch of items that I've gotten. I didn't want to spend a ton of money on aftermarket, and you certainly can for these. You can double the price of this very quickly, but there are a few things that I thought would be really worthwhile to improve its performance immediately without spending a ton of money. So we'll be going over that shortly. And as usual, Axial does a good job of packaging. Inside one box, we have another even bigger box. And I think the easiest way for me to go is going to be to cut this, because this is one heavy box. We're probably talking about 30 pounds plus. And I'm going to need to recycle this box anyway. So let's just cut down the sides. These things are really big, as you can see. Okay, looks like we've got a factory seal right here. Cut that. Before I open this, let's go ahead and just kind of check out the graphics. We've got our big view on the front of the box here. This is available in two colors, this sand colored and the red. I went with red. I sure hope reds is what's in the box. Here we have the usual exploded views. picture. More close-up views of suspension. Our radio. So looks like a Spectrum 3 or 4 channel. I'm not sure. We'll go over that later. Let me just yeah, it's a DX3, so it'll be a 3 channel. Here we go. I remember hearing a couple of other people say that, you know, they love their truck, and what they don't like is potentially having to carry it back from taking it out and maybe running out of power or doing some kind of damage that makes it unable to drive on its own. I mean, this thing is heavy. I'm guessing over 25 pounds, probably closer to 30. I'll put it on a scale for us. Got lots of details. Got some lights here. We've actually got headlight buckets. Some more lights up in the front bumper. Lights in the rear. It's really substantial. Let me get this box out of the way. Let's see if there's anything else in here other than styrofoam. Nope, that's it. So, here's our truck. It very much resembles the SCX10s, almost to the point of being a copy that has just simply been enlarged. It's very nice. A lot of solid items here, like our connecting rods are very beefy. I believe they're all stainless steel linkages. The pumpkins are massive. We got some big diffs going on here. You can see our universal joint axles. This thing should be a lot of fun to work on because of its size. It's going to be difficult from a weight point of view. It's my understanding that you need a 10mm wrench to get these wheels off. So, something you want to get. I do have a Losi tool that has one. Okay, let's take this up to the workroom and get going on the aftermarket stuff and kind of explore this this vehicle and its potential. So I'm just going to go over the things that I got for the SCX6. Number one, a lot of people have issues with the clutch, the stock pads wearing out, getting burnt in, etc. I'm going to be going over a lot of stuff as far as just doing a pre-maintenance disassembly and reassembly. So this is a carbon fiber slipper pad kit by SVT, by Bauhaus RC. I'll provide a list of the parts, links, prices, the whole 9 yards on all of this information later. One of the things that seems to be a bit of a problem with some of them, and maybe that was just the earlier models, was that they didn't have shims in the differentials, and the gears would have too much lash and they would start climbing each other and then tearing each other apart. And so these are the type of shims that you need. This is by Arma. You can get them from anybody that makes them in this size, 12 millimeter by 15.5 millimeter by 0.2 millimeter. A lot of the more recent runs of the SCX6 have shims in the diffs, and they are properly set up. So I'll be finding out whether that was done with mine and whether mine needs to be adjusted. I'm also going to take the opportunity to get rid of the grease that they put in there, and I'm going to be using this. It's called Utter Butter. It's by cowrc.com. It's supposed to be an excellent lube for crawlers in particular. That's one of the areas that needs attention. Another area that needs attention is the servo. Some people have broken their stock servos literally within minutes of driving the car, banging the front wheels when turned against something and having it just torque on the servo and blow out the gears. It's not a very high-end servo, and that's not surprising considering the price of this vehicle at ready to run, plus how big it is, everything that's involved. It's an expensive truck, and they had to save money somewhere to make this palatable to the market, and the servo's one of the places they skimped. There are a variety of really good options available. This is an RS 2500 V2 by NSDRC. It's 8 volt to 16.8. It has a separate input for its power source. So you'll need a connection like this where you can get power directly off of your battery. This basically goes in between the lead to the ESC and the battery. It's just like a jumper. And that has 2 outputs available for you. So if you're running a 3 or 4S, you're going to have plenty of juice for your servo. This is another item that I picked up in cases I needed to draw power to some other item. It's basically just a wire and a plug. It's only a couple bucks. And NSDRC's own arm that is supposed to be for this vehicle. So one of the issues that a lot of people have when they get their new servo is that the arm is set for 3 millimeter holes, and the linkage uses 4 millimeter hardware. So they end up either having to drill and tap or just drill it out altogether and use a nut. I decided to just go ahead and get a good servo arm that was going to work out of the box. Another issue that's something you might want to deal with is the steering. The linkage for the panhard that anchors your front axle and keeps it in line. There's 2 connections, one on the, I think it's the left side shock tower. There's a little plastic arm coming off it with a linkage. And then on the right-hand side of the axle, on the steering knuckle, there's an arm sticking up with a hole in it, and that there's a link that goes between those. The one on the axle, it's not known to break often, but I've seen it broken. And they do both flex. Both locations the plastic can be flexed, and that will change your steering. Also to mount the servo, you need a modified part. This is a special mount by Trail for the larger size servos. So to deal with that issue of the pan-hard connection, I upgraded to a set of aluminum shock mounts. Now you can just do the fronts if you want. This is kind of a no-name brand. Most of these items, regardless of who brands them, are made in China, and they're all made by the same company. It's the same parts. So I went on Amazon. I got a set of all four for like $25 or $30 tops, and that's going to give me that aluminum. That's going to give me that mount for the pan-hard on the left side shock tower. And it'll be aluminum, and it'll be nice and strong. It adds a little weight to the vehicle higher up than you'd want it, but it's not a huge problem. Now, as far as the axle goes, this is another area that I wanted to address. I wanted to add as much weight down low on the vehicle, which means on the wheels and on the axles, to lower the center of gravity, make it less likely to tip over. It makes it more stable. It is sprung weight, but crawling is a completely different issue for unsprung versus sprung weight. These aren't high-speed race cars. So to make that linkage stronger, I bought a set of brass hubs, or the steering knuckles, and they're very heavy because, you know, you can get them in aluminum if you want, but using brass adds a lot more weight. And so here's that arm that I was talking about here, and it's already threaded, as you can see. Well, you can't see through the bag, but it is, trust me. And you replace the plastic parts on your front axle. These are the kind of parts that are going to break, and so replacing them with metal parts, either aluminum or brass, is going to be a benefit to you as far as strengthening your steering system. And then the hubs themselves are also available in brass or aluminum, and so I got a set in brass. They come with the bearings. They even come with these faux disc brakes. So that'll be combining all those items. That's a lot of extra weight down very low. Here's two more items that I bought, again, to add weight down low. First is these are spring perches, and they're made of brass. So you take your shock apart and you put these in place of the little plastic cups. Your springs sit in these cups, and that again adds a bunch of weight down low at all four corners, because with the steering items are only for the front axle. And then we have our 9mm thick hexes for our wheel locks. And these, again, are made out of brass, so they add a little extra weight out at your four corners. And there's a few other weight-related issues that I'll talk about later during the assembly. And I bought these two items. Again, very inexpensive, no-name brand. Got them both on off Amazon for $20 or so a piece. Basically, these are the front and rear bumper mounts. They're aluminum, and they attach the frame rails together. So having these at either end of the truck, as opposed to plastic pieces which can flex and or break, having solid aluminum is going to beef up the chassis' overall strength and reduce its torsion. And last but not least are these angled linkages. These are going to be for 2 in the front and 2 in the rear. They're going to replace the lower links, and having that bit of a bend in them is going to increase the attack angle in between your front and rear axles, so that instead of just being a straight line, that little bit of a zigzag there, or that little zig there, provides a little extra clearance in the middle of the vehicle. So as it's climbing over rocks, it's less likely to bottom out the rails. And I've got a few other knickknacks here that things just that were interesting to get. This is a set of lamps that I'm going to replace the ones that are on the hood. These are much larger, much brighter. I'll take the ones that are on the hood and put them somewhere else on the truck just to light it up a little more. This is a set of small LED rails in red. Those I'll put on the rear of the roll cage somewhere. And to help connect all those things up, I got a pack of 2-way, 3-way, and 4-way splitters. And all of these connectors basically work on 3-prong servo leads. Usually they're only 2 wires, you know, positive and negative, because there's no signal. And I've got a set of aluminum wheels on order. Again, that'll replace the plastic ones and add a little extra weight down low. And finally, we come to these. And Crazy Crawler makes some very nice products. I got a set of foams similar to these for my another Axial kit that I have, and really like them. These are a lot firmer, and what that's going to do for the truck is it's going to make the side loading a lot stiffer. If you watch some of these, some videos of these crawling around, you'll notice that the tires are really bending under and deforming a lot. And so having a stiffer sidewall is definitely a benefit. And with the extra weight that I'm adding, it's really going to be necessary to have those. As if this truck isn't heavy enough, you really get a sense of it when you got to carry this thing around. It's definitely a good idea to get an extra battery or two, so you can drive this thing back to your car from wherever you decide to go and run it, instead of having to carry it out of the woods. So bear that in mind. Throwing up an extra battery in your backpack so you've got something to drive it home on is a good idea. I bought, since everything on there is Spectrum and it's all the smart stuff, I got a set of smart batteries to take advantage of that. That way I'll get a battery indicator lights here. I'll know when I'm running them down. Because of the way the car is designed, the truck is designed, excuse me, you've basically got 3 battery locations. I'm never going to use the rear location. I just don't think that having a battery over the rear wheels is something you want to do, and especially considering how much higher it is. The 2 saddle pack locations are great, though. I'm going to put 1 battery in each, and then just switch the connector, you know, when one starts running low, just unplug and plug in the secondary battery. And that's probably a good time to start thinking about heading back to the car when you've worn them down, one down, if you don't have any extras. So, but I probably will buy at least 1 other battery, maybe not as big as 5,000 milliamps, just to have a return battery, and then use the 2 of these to go outbound and then crawl around. So that pretty much sums up the unboxing process here. I'm going to start by taking the vehicle partially apart. There are people have made a lot of comments about the lube that is used in the transmission and the differentials, that it's too thick. They're not happy with it for various reasons. I want to go ahead and open up the gearbox and replace what's in there with the udder butter. And like I said, I'm going to be swapping out the clutch immediately, so I want to have that. Oh yeah, from the electronics, this was another little item. Basically, this is a 1:5 splitter. So if you're adding extra lights like I'm going to, having one of these where you can take one power lead and then branch it off into 5 separate leads is a nice thing to have. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you have an SCX6, maybe you've seen a few parts that you might want to get for yourself. Again, I'll be providing links on all of these and any other specific information that may be pertinent to you. Thanks for watching. Please click like and subscribe to the channel. And when you click the subscribe button, there's a couple of options available. Click the top option for all, and that way you'll get notifications every time I post a new video.